Well, you guys should know how this works by now. We have a microphone here and here.
Columbus.
Line up, ask questions, keep it to one question per person. And normally I say don't make it too weird, but I think this guy can handle it.
Oh, I can handle it. I just want to pimp one movie that's on right now. It's my Halloween gift to all the fans. It's not strictly horror, but it certainly qualifies as a hardcore thriller. Last showing is on demand now, and some fans have told me you can get it on iTunes. I'm really proud of it. It's some of the best work I've done in the last 20 years, so check it out, because you gotta wait till February for the Fear Clinic. All right, first question.
All right, right over here. Hi.
Hi, I have a question for you. Been a big fan for a long time. You've been scaring me since I was about 6 years old. Made me cry, gave me nightmares. My question is, what was it that scared you or gave you nightmares when you were growing up?
Well,
that's a good question.
I had a couple. One was from a movie, actually both were from a movie. As a child, when I was a kid, they had double bill matinees for kids in the afternoon, especially on Saturdays and Sundays. And at some point in the afternoon, the films changed to the adult program. And I don't mean adult like porn channel adult. I mean, it was just a grown-up movie. And I'd gone to see a cowboy movie with Anthony Quinn. And he was the old gunfighter, you know, and all the young gunfighters wanted him. And I couldn't have been more than 7 or 8 years old. And the movie, instead of being like a cowboy movie, she goes on my box.
It's already over, buddy.
It turned out to be an old war horse of a Broadway play made into a movie called The Bad Seed. And the star of the movie is a little blonde girl named Rhoda. And she has blonde braids. And the movie opens with her pounding the little fingers of a boy at the edge of a pier on a lake in summer camp. And she's pounding his hands and he slips off the pier into the water of the lake, never to be seen again. And when they find his body, the only clue is on the back of his hands were the images of half moons from her little tap shoes.
You've seen that movie?
Well, the movie just gets scarier and creepier. It's very talky. It's black and white. It's based on a play, so it's quite static. But the performance by the lead actress, who I met later on as an adult, is brilliant. And for about 4 years, I had to sit behind a girl alphabetically in elementary school. Her name was Erin Hart. I'm England. And she had braids. And it was
I'll ask a question.
so I was afraid of braids from the movies. And then I saw war movies when I was a kid. Because my generation, when we were kids, we were closer to World War II. And our fathers had been in World War II. And we, you know, so we liked to see movies. And I went to see a movie by a famous author.
No, you stay here.
And again, I wasn't supposed to be there. I was supposed to be watching, you know, a Disney movie or something. And it changed like 3 in the afternoon or 4 in the afternoon. And it's a famous novel, Naked and the Dead, and a famous horror movie about warfare in the South Pacific. Not unlike the one that's right out now, Fury with Brad Pitt. Very, very violent, very prestigious war film. And I'm sitting there, little Robbie England, you know, with my hot butter corn, you know, and my M&Ms, I think they only came in 2 flavors back then. And I'm sitting there, and this movie comes on, and like about a third of the way to the movie, a GI is bit by a green tropical snake. And he dies the most violent death in the history of cinema. I mean, pus comes out of his ears, pus comes out of his nose, pus comes out of his eyes, you know, everywhere. And I'm watching it, you know, I'm shell-shocked. So for the rest of my life, I'm petrified of snakes. I don't even like to go near the reptile section, you know, at the zoo. And then a couple of years ago, when you're a horror movie actor, you eventually do your killer bee movie, you eventually do your giant alligator movie. And you eventually do your giant snake movie. I've done one, me and Jenny McCarthy. We work with a big giant snake. Jenny's, I think, handled a lot of big snakes in her life. But anyway. I didn't mean that. I'm teasing Jenny. But I played the old herpetologist, the snake expert. And I looked sort of like, you know, Colonel Sanders. And I dyed my hair white because my hair wasn't, I didn't have a gray beard then. And they gave me a baby python. in a sock with a shoestring on it, and I wore it under my arm to keep it warm, because they like the body warmth. And I played with it in the movie. It was like my prop. You know, it was like like having a parrot on your shoulder. If you're a pirate, I had the little snake. It was my little pet snake. Well, I got over my fear of snakes. But it took a horror movie, a cheesy little horror movie, for me to get over my fear of snakes. So I'm still petrified of graves.
Thank you. Take one over here.
I was just wondering if there's any possibility that we could see another Nightmare on Elm Street in the future after the reboot that came out a few years ago.
No, you guys know more about this stuff than I do. Here's the deal. New Line Cinema sold rights for Nightmare on Elm Street to Time Warner. Time Warner is in business with a man that makes Transformers, Michael Bay. He has a company called Platinum Dunes. They also purchased the rights to Friday the 13th and Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I believe Halloween perhaps too. At any rate, their goal is to reboot all the franchises for a new generation, which I don't think is a bad idea. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I'm a Hollywood kid. Two of the biggest paychecks I ever made when I was young were for remakes, Stars Born and Phantom of the Opera. So I understand remakes and sequels. What I think is happening is Hollywood is making them too soon now. What's happened in the last 10 years with Blu-ray, digitally remastered box sets, cable, Netflix, is that the fans are rediscovering all the good movies that slipped through the cracks. The good little horror movies, the great little science fiction movies, fantasy movies from Europe. And they're discovering these movies, independent films. I just saw one on demand called Blue Ruin, which is the name of the car. The Blue Ruin, it's the car that a boy from a family that has a terrible tragedy occur in it. He lives for the rest of his life in the family car, the Blue Ruin. And when the man that caused the family tragedy comes out of jail, he and the Blue Ruin go on their quest for revenge. But this is a movie that's brilliant, that no one's seen, and now slowly fans are rediscovering, myself included. So I think that they rebooted some of the franchises a bit prematurely. Because if you take and he's having a sleepover, and they're all down in the basement with their penny sleeping bags, you know, those wild ones with the geese flying off the hunter sheet, and the zipper that never works. And they're down there binging, you know, on Coca-Cola and candy. And Dad says, "When I was a young man, this is a horror movie that made me poop my pants." And Dad pops on the Blu-ray exclusive, digitally remastered Nightmare on Elm Street box set on a 50-inch flat screen in the man cave. You're a 12-year-old boy. Well, that looks better than it did when it came out at a crappy mall cinema. Or one of those straight VHSs, you know, that you inherited from your older brother. So we're getting a new generation of fans, and so I think Hollywood should just slow down a little bit on the remakes. So they want to remake the movies, and unless they bring me back as the old green expert, or something like that. But in the meantime, you guys, while you're waiting, you can watch me kick ass in Fear Clinic. By the way, Thomas Decker from Terminator the Sarah Connor Chronicles is incredible in Fear Clinic. Okay, next question.
I grew up watching your movies, and actually the only ones that terrified me at that time, because you know you have to sleep no matter what. All the other ones never really scared me, but I want to know what it was like to still be such an iconic character, still be connected with somebody now, all these years later, to still be known as Friday.
Well, the great gift for me is, of course, that I did Peak, which is science fiction. #1 miniseries in the world. Second one to Roots in terms of ratings. You guys are kind of young to remember, but it really, it was like hours every night on television, and there was really cool, all